Hey everyone, it's Sean. It's Sunday, so it's story time. And with me today is a special lizard called a Spanish jeweled lacerta, sometimes called an ocellated lizard. Now, they get the name jeweled lizard because of their shiny colors across their backs. You can see he's got some very awesome greens and blues, so he looks like a bunch of jewels. Now, he's a very curious lizard. He's kind of scoping me out, trying to figure what's going on. You can see, kind of, that he has some long claws there. And he also has a very, very long tail. That's because this guy kind of goes all over the place. He's a very fast runner. He's also a very good climber, but he also likes to burrow. So they can kind of go all over the place, and that has to do with the types of foods he likes to eat. So these guys like to eat a variation of bugs. So he's got to be very fast and be able to climb on things to get bugs. But he also likes to eat some fruits and veggies. So he's going to be down on the ground and even burrowing, so he can go down there and find some of those things. Now, he's almost full grown. These guys can usually reach upwards of 2 feet long, and most of it is tail. So a lot of times when lizards have long tails like this, they actually use it for balance. So a lot of lizards that like to climb or are going to be up on walls or in trees have very, very long tails to help balance themselves back up. Now, you can see he's pretty curious. He's moved around a little bit, but he's tilting his head and he's looking at me. And lizards are a lot smarter than people give them credit for, so sometimes when they're tilting their head and looking at you, they're figuring things out. Right now, he's trying to figure out whether I'm a predator or not, and I think he's starting to realize that I'm not. As long as I don't keep moving a hand over top of him or put my head over top of him, he'll be okay. I leave my hands open a little bit so that way he feels safe and doesn't have to feel like I'm grabbing onto him. So, with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and get story time started. I decided to pick a Dr. Seuss book again this week because I figured the jeweled lacerta would love hearing about the Sneetches. So, you ready, big guy? Here we go. Now, the star-bellied Sneetches had bellies with stars. The plain-bellied Sneetches had none upon theirs. Those stars weren't so big, they were really so small, you might think such a thing wouldn't matter at all. But because they had stars, all the star-bellied Sneetches would brag, "We're the best kind of Sneetch on the beaches." With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and they'd snort. Will have nothing to do with the plain-belly sort. And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them without even talking. When the star-bellied children went out to play ball, could a plain belly get in the game? Not at all. You could only play if the bellies had stars, and the plain-bellied children had none upon theirs. When the star-bellied Sneetches had Frankfurter roast, or picnics or parties or marshmallow roast, they never invited the plain-bellied Sneetches. They left them out in the cold in the dark of the beaches. They kept them away, never let them come near, and that's how they treated them year after year. Then one day, it seems, while the plain-bellied Sneetches were moping and doping along on the beaches, just sitting there wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. "My friends," he announced in a voice clear and keen, "my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean, and I've heard of your troubles. I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up chappie. I've come here to help you. I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work at great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed." Then quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine. And he said, "You want stars like a star-bellied Sneetch? My friends, you can have them $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard." So they clambered inside. Then the big machine roared. And it clonked and it bonked and it jerked and it burped and it bopped them about. But the thing really worked. When the plain-bellied Sneetches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled at the ones who had stars at the start. "We're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all just the same now, you snooty old smarties, and now you can go to your Frankfurter parties." "Good grief," groaned the ones who had the stars at the first. "We're still the best Sneetches and they are the worst. But now, how in the world will we know," they all frowned, "if which is what or the other way around?" Then up came McBean with a very sly wink, and he said, "Things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who's who? That is perfectly true. But come with me, friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best Sneetches on beaches, and all will cost you is $10 eaches." "Belly's stars are no longer in style," said McBean. "What you need is a trip through my star-off machine. This wondrous contraption will take off your stars, so you won't look like the Sneetches who have them on theirs." And that handy machine, working very precisely, removed all the stars from their tummies quite nicely. Then, with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks and they let out a shout. "We know who is who, there isn't a doubt. The best kind of Sneetches are Sneetches without." Then, of course, those with stars got all frightfully mad. To be wearing a star now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMonkey McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guessed, things really got into a horrible mess. All the rest of the day, all on those wild screaming beaches, the fix-it-up chappie kept fixing up Sneetches. Off again, on again, in again, out again. Through the machines they raced around and about again, changing their stars every minute or two. They kept paying money, they kept running through, until neither the plane nor the star bellies knew whether this one was that one, or that one was this one, or which one was what one, or what one was who. Then, when every last cent of their money was spent, the fix-it-up chappie packed up and he went. And he laughed as he drove in his car up the beach. They will never learn, no, you can't teach a Sneetch. But McBean was quite wrong, I'm quite happy to say, that the Sneetches got really quiet smart on the day. The day they decided that Sneetches are Sneetches, and no kind of a Sneetch is the best on the beaches. That day all the Sneetches forgot about stars, and whether they had one or not upon theirs. I'm sorry the lights went out. But as I mentioned, we all make mistakes, and I like doing this just straightforward. So I'm going to stand up, and I'll get the lights turned back on. There we go. And that was the last page. That was the Sneetches. So I hope you guys all learned something, that just because you make look a little bit different from someone else, whether it be a star on your belly, or a different hair color, or even a different skin tone, we're all just the same. There's no reason to treat anybody different than you would want to be treated just because they don't look exactly like you. I don't treat this lizard different because he looks different than other lizards. I still treat him with kindness and respect because he's still a living creature. So I hope all of you enjoyed Storytime, and I hope that you can take away something of that, one, it's okay to make mistakes because I forgot about the lights and they turned off. And I think it's okay to make mistakes and we just admit them and we learn from them. And the other is the story of the Sneetches, again, that it doesn't matter what you look like, we're all the same and we can all get along. So hope you guys have a good night. I'll give you another good look at our lacerta friend. Oh, you like your own, oh yeah, you see yourself. Very handsome. So have a good night, everybody.